you often see Indians stick with the Indians. And the ones who say it's a racist country are the ones that generally don't put themselves out there, I find. And I think that when it comes to fitting in, it's a two-way street. Somebody has to make the first move. I think the thing that appeals to me about Maria is different to what Sahil said about Giri, in that unlike Sahil and Giri, I feel like I have a lot of similarities with Maria. We share the same thing, and I went through a similar journey as she did throughout the film of learning about, I don't know, the society and the way things work and the values. A lot of that. I was born and raised in Australia. And I always say to my friends, you know, they say, oh, you're Indian. I say, well, I'm about as Indian as you are.
That's a very strong statement, Mr. Sharma. These could just as easily be regrettable coincidences.
Are you crazy?
Excuse me?
It feels like you're one of them.
I mean, my parents are very liberal-minded. They're not traditional in their thinking at all. So growing up, we were accustomed to certain things because they are, like, we celebrate Diwali every year, and they taught me about things that they thought were important. And whenever we do things that were part of tradition, Indian tradition, it would always be for a reason. So we celebrate Diwali because we like the metaphor of light. But when it comes to things like fasting every week, like some of our relatives do, and taking things into consideration like caste and stuff like that, it was never something that was part of my life. You know, mug on Mondays. But never really something that was part of my life, because if it wasn't supported by some sort of reason that was practical, we wouldn't do it.
Surely we can't be that racist. I mean, I don't know anybody who feels like that or behaves in that way.
Well, you can't always tell what a person feels or thinks, Maria.
I think that that's because I've been brought up in a mindset and in a society where I just mingle with anybody, and it's not about the heritage that they're from. You know, my grandpa was still asked, and he comes from a very different society. He's a beautiful man, but just because of his society, he'll always say, oh, they Indian? Oh, they this, that. Whereas to me, I don't even think like that, you know? When I meet someone, it's not about that. It's a very, very different way of thinking.
And these untouchables, you say, they're the lowest caste?
When it came to learning about the caste system and the subject matter, I didn't want to do too much research before we started filming, because Maria at the top of the film doesn't know too much. I actually think that I knew more than she would have, and I didn't want to know more than she did, and I wanted the process throughout the film of learning about it and coming to terms with what it was to happen as the filming was taking place. So when Giri was telling me things, and each night after we'd shoot, look up things and research things, and as the movie progressed, my understanding of everything progressed, and so did Maria's. So it was very much a sort of thing that happened in the time of shooting, on that aspect of it anyway.
Because of what I said?
Yeah, a bit. But I've been thinking about what you told me, and I want to write about your story.
She almost gets in touch with her roots, I guess. It's that whole notion of not knowing that you're missing something until you fall in love, or you meet someone and you almost discover the hole that's inside of yourself that you never knew was there. I think that's what happens with her. I think at the beginning of the film, her life is fine. She's a very, very successful journalist. Everything could have gone on fine and dandy, and she would have been pretty happy. But I think in meeting Giri and learning about what she does in the film and becoming the person that she does become, because of her interactions with Giri and learning about the caste system and trying to actually break something and do something worthwhile, she has a whole turnaround. And by the end of the film, she's a very different person. The cool thing about working with Girish is that it's his script, and the story's from his heart, you know? And I've never done anything like that where it's someone's original thing. So it's a baby that's being born. You're not trying to do someone else's work. You're not trying to replicate something. It's his own product that we built together. And it was an exciting thing in the rehearsals that we had for it and shooting it, building this thing from scratch and really shaping it in the way that was ours. If it wasn't me and it was someone else, or it wasn't Sahil, it would have been something very different, but we made it something very specific to who we are and what we wanted to show.
You've obviously not heard about the Indian caste system, have you?
The Indian caste system?
Yes.
What? Are you telling me that that still exists?
Well, yes, obviously you're not educated about that, are you?
Okay, maybe. I'm not what you think I am, though. I'm Indian Australian. It's a true story that shows love, curiosity, loss, pain, a whole range of things. I think at the end of the day, what makes people want to go see films is the humanity in it. I think films that do well relate to people being human. And that's what the film's about.